to the latest episode of Cooking and Cook. Today we are making a breakfast, lunch, supper type meal. Some amazing yeast pancakes. These are not Bisquick pancakes. These are amazing yeast pancakes. Probably going to be the best pancakes you have ever eaten. And we're going to top it off with an apple cinnamon sauce. So stay tuned for an amazing meal of pancakes with an apple cinnamon sauce. Back to Cooking with Coach. We're going to start by making our amazing cinnamon applesauce. And to start that off, we got to scrub up our apples. We're going to be using 2 apples. One has already started the process. We're going to scrub our apple up, and then we're going to peel our apple somehow. Much like peeling the carrots last week for our amazing healthy carrot cake, we gotta peel all the outer area off our apple here. There we go. Once you get her started, just want to make sure that you don't peel the skin off your fingers, as the peeling mechanism or peeling tool here can be a little bit dangerous. No, hold on to that apple too. We don't want to fumble it. Back to Cooking with Coach. Now that we got our apples peeled and ready to go, we're ready to dice up our apples for our amazing apple cinnamon sauce. Now you can choose to use whatever kind of apple you want. We are choosing to use a Honeycrisp apple today. Now, if you're not an expert in the kitchen, you probably want to use a little knife like this. But being the world-class chef that I am, I'm going to go with the good old hack knife here. And we're going to remove the core from the apple here. We want to get as much of the apple as possible. You can see how I'm doing it to perfection because I got it right down to the seed. So we're going to very carefully, without hacking our fingers off, we're going to take the apple off. And we're going to end up with just the core. Now look at that. That is a perfectly cored apple. Now we're going to just chop this bad boy up. Again, you want to watch your 5 digits that you have holding the apple because you don't want to lose one of them in your applesauce. Once we get our apple chopped up, we're going to go, I call it machine gun style on it, rapid fire, and we're going to dice that bad boy up as fast as possible with an old trick that I learned when I used to cut onions at the McDonald's in Osseo, Wisconsin. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. Now that we have our apples sliced, we're going to go through a process to finely dice our apples. And this process was learned at the McDonald's in Osseo, Wisconsin back in 1996 when I used to chop onions from the Big Macs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our big chopping blade, we're going to put it near the apples, put our hand on the end, and we're just going to just start chopping. And you can see in the process of doing this, we end up with some very finely sliced, finely diced apples. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. Now that we got our apples all finely diced using that process from the good old McDonald's in Osseo, Wisconsin, we're now going to prepare our ingredients. All measured out to make our sauce. So we are going to take our butter, 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to put her into our medium-sized saucepan here. Looks about a medium-sized saucepan. So there's our 2 tablespoons of butter. We need a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, if you like a more cinnamony apple, you could add more. We're going to go with just a good old half a teaspoon. We then have to add, let's see here, we gotta get our brown sugar going here. We need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Once again, if you like a sweeter applesauce, you can add more. There's 1 tablespoon. And 2 tablespoons. There is our brown sugar. And we're going to now add our apples. We're going to put our apples in the good old pan. Want to make sure we get as many of those apples in there as possible. You can see the fine skill of diced apples. Gonna put our apples in there, and it is time to throw her on the stove. And welcome back to Cooking with Coach. As you can see, we have our apples, our cinnamon, sugar, and butter on the stove right now. We have it on a medium heat, and we are melting the butter, mixing the apples, and we are going to keep this process going until our apples get nice and soft, as we want the apples to be nice and soft when we add the maple syrup at the very end to make our applesauce. So we're going to keep on stirring as our apples are cooking. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. We are now going to add our maple syrup. As our apples are ready to go, we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of pure maple syrup to it, and we're going to mix it together, and then we're going to put it actually on the back burner and turn it on low as we start the long process of preparing these amazing yeast pancakes. So we got our maple syrup in. We're going to turn the back burner on low. We're going to mix in the maple syrup into our apples here. And we're going to put her back on low and let her sit and simmer. That's going to help soften up the apples even more. You got to make sure to stir it, as we don't want anything to burn. And our applesauce, apple cinnamon maple syrup sauce, is going to be ready to go. Back to Cooking with Coach. We're now going to start our process of making these amazing yeast pancakes. So we started out by warming up 2 cups of milk in the microwave until it was warm. And now that our milk is warm, we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. And 1 packet of dry active yeast to the milk. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. Now that we have our warm milk, our sugar, and our yeast going in the mixing bowl, we're going to add our eggs. Again, expert break right there. No shell. Look at that. We're getting pretty dang good at that. And number 2. And we're also going to add then 2 tablespoons of sugar. Boom. 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Boom. And 2 cups of flour. And lastly, we're going to add about a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to mix that together prior to adding our milk and yeast. Now that we have our flour mixture all put together, we're going to add our yeast milk mixture. And we're going to start mixing that bad boy together. Smells already like amazing yeast pancakes. We're going to get this so we're not clumpy, because nobody likes clumpy, lumpy pancakes. And then we're going to put her in the oven for approximately 1 hour. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. Now that we have our batter all mixed and ready to go, we're going to put it in the oven for approximately 1 hour so that way the yeast can rise. Now, prior to making the batter, we set our oven to the lowest heat possible, and we warmed it up to get it to that heat, and then we shut it off. So now we're going to put the batter in the oven, in our bowl, for about 1 hour. There we go. And we'll be back in about 1 hour's time.